Good morning students. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Eng.Med Modern School. Myself Rachana Shukla, starting with subject SS of standard 8, and our ongoing lesson is lesson number 2, that is what is around us. This is the second part of our lesson, and in the first video we learned about what is what is hydrosphere and what is lithosphere. So basically there are 4 spheres of our world, and that is lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere and biosphere. Earth is the only planet in the solar system where life exists. So in the previous 2 parts we learned about hydrosphere, means the water component, the water bodies on the earth, and the lithosphere, that is the hard surface, the crust of the earth on which life exists. In this video we will study about what is atmosphere, and then we will move on to what is biosphere. Talking about atmosphere, see, there is a blanket of air surrounded around our earth, around the globe, and that blanket of air is known as atmosphere. In other words, I can say that the sphere of air that wraps around our earth, the round earth, that is known as atmosphere. It comprises of many gases. So number of gases are there in atmosphere. Now what is the height of atmosphere from the surface of the earth? So if we see from the earth's surface up to the height, so it extends, the layer of atmosphere extends up to 1600 kilometer from the surface of the earth. It extends up to 1600 kilometer from the surface of the earth. Now atmosphere is that sphere which cannot be seen through naked eyes. So like lithosphere and like hydrosphere, we cannot see atmosphere through our naked eyes because it is comprising of air and other such gases. Now, what are the things that are there in atmosphere? So what does atmosphere includes? Atmosphere includes gases. Number 1, there are numerous gases found in the atmosphere. Then there is water vapor, small droplets of water. Then comes dust particles. You have seen many dust particles when the sun rays fall in a dark room. A beam of light falls in a dark room, you can see the dust particles moving in the air. So these are the dust particles that is found in the atmosphere. Then smoke, all of you know what is smoke, the smoke coming out from the factories and other industries. That smoke is found in the atmosphere. Salt, amount of minimum salt is found in the atmosphere, especially in the coastal areas. If you visit coastal areas, there is maximum moisture in the atmosphere, and that is the amount of salt that strikes your skin. You feel very salty on your skin. Then comes small microorganisms. Yes, there are small living creatures, small microorganisms flying in the atmosphere and also living in the atmosphere. Next thing, content about the atmosphere. Our atmosphere is colorless. It does not have color. We cannot see color in the atmosphere. It is odorless and it is transparent. Odorless means we cannot smell it, and transparent means the light can easily pass through atmosphere. Yes, the rays of the sun coming from the sun directly comes to our earth's surface, because in between there is atmosphere, but atmosphere is transparent, so light easily travels through atmosphere. Now there are 3 main components that are found in atmosphere, and that is solid, liquid and gaseous elements. So we have solid particles found in the atmosphere, then we have liquid, and we even have gaseous elements in the atmosphere. Talking about the percentage of gases, we have 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, both the gases, the lifeline of the creatures, living creatures to live, and 1% of other gases in the atmosphere. So our atmosphere comprises of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen and 1% other gases, total 100%. Now, when you move upwards from the surface of the earth, I repeat once again, when you move upwards from the surface of the earth, the amount of gases in the atmosphere decreases. Once again, when you move upwards from the surface of the earth, the amount of gases present in the atmosphere decreases. So, moving upwards, the gases decreases. In the atmosphere, carbon dioxide, that is CO2, that gas is very heavy. It is very heavy gas, so it is generally found in the lower layer of the atmosphere. It cannot be found in the upper layer of the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide gas, that is CO2, is very heavy, so it is found in the lower level of atmosphere rather than upper layer. Then ozone gas. If we talk about ozone gas, ozone is a very special gas found in atmosphere, and it is also found in very small proportion in atmosphere. Now why and how? See, ozone gas is that gas, it is a layer, ozone gas is a layer above the atmosphere, and that gas protects our earth from the ultraviolet rays that are coming from the sun. Once again, ozone gas is the gas that is found in the upper layer of the atmosphere. It is a layer, and it is a gas found in very small proportion that protects our earth from the ultraviolet rays that are directly coming from the rays from the sun. So the ultraviolet rays that are directly coming from the sun, the harmful rays, are being blocked by the ozone layer. So ozone layer protects our earth. Now where is ozone gas found? Ozone gas is generally found in large proportion in the early morning. If you take a walk, people say that if you walk in early morning, it is very good for your health. Why? Because ozone gas is found in huge proportion, and it is also found on the coastal area or on the beaches in the early morning. So ozone gas is found there. Now talking about the proportion of oxygen and nitrogen. Nitrogen is 78%, oxygen is 21% in atmosphere, and oxygen and nitrogen are the two main important gases that keeps the living creatures alive. I repeat once again, oxygen and nitrogen are the two gases in the atmosphere that keeps the living creatures alive. Now the next thing about water. Water is the most important component of atmosphere. Yes, you find water droplets in the atmosphere. Water in the form of vapor evaporates, mixes with the air, and that is known as moisture. Moisture, it is generally found in the rainy season. It is found in the coastal area. You feel sticky on your skin when there is high amount of moisture in the air. So what is moisture? Water in the form of vapor evaporates, mixes with air, and that is known as moisture. Now talking about cooling of vapor. The process of cooling of vapor, that means the whole cycle, the whole water cycle, in that when the vapor cools down, that process is known as condensation. The process of cooling of vapor is known as condensation. So everything, this thing, moisture, condensation, these all things takes place in atmosphere. Now the parts of or the types of moisture found in atmosphere are dew, fog, clouds, and precipitation. These are some of the types of moisture found in atmosphere. Now what is dew? Dew means when you get up early in the morning, especially in winter season, you see some droplets of water on the mirror of your vehicles, on the green grass, on the leaves of the plants, and so that droplets of water found on the mirror of the vehicles, the glasses, and the grass, the leaves, that is known as dew. Now talking about fog. What is fog? If you visit hill stations, if you especially go in the monsoon season, you see the atmosphere full of clouds, full of smoky area, and that is known as fog. The visibility comes to almost zero. That is known as fog. Now talking about clouds, all of you know what are clouds. Clouds are just formed due to the evaporation and the condensation process and the precipitation. Precipitation means the falling of rain from the clouds. So when the clouds are formed, when they are full of water, they strike with each other in the atmosphere and finally they give rain on the earth. Talking about the effect of atmosphere. Now we have learned what is atmosphere, what it comprises of. So atmosphere also have effects on the human being, on the living creatures. So it affects the food habits, the clothing, the habitat, the color and the economic activities of all living beings or all human beings on the earth. The last thing, dust particles. You have seen dust particles in the atmosphere. Though it cannot be seen through naked eyes, but when you open your window, only some part of window, and when the sun rays directly come in the room, you can see some of the particles moving or floating in the air, and that is known as dust particles. Now, dust particles helps the spreading of sun rays. Sun rays, the spreading of sun rays from the sun to the earth are possible only because of dust particles, and dust particle is one of the component found in the atmosphere. If there are no dust particles, the sun rays that are coming from the sun to the earth, it might be difficult. The reflection is possible, the reflection of the light is possible only due to the presence of the dust particles in the atmosphere. Then there is not directly darkness after the sun sets. See, all of you know that after sun sets in the evening at 6:30 or 7 o'clock or 7:30, then directly it does not become dark. It takes time. It takes 1 hour or half an hour to become dark after the sun sets. Why it is so? It is so only because of the presence of dust particles. The dust particles moving in the atmosphere spreads the light of the sunlight, and when the sun rises directly it does not become so dark. Why it is so? Because of dust particles. The sun rises, and due to the dust particles, slowly and gradually the light spreads in the atmosphere. So this is the work of the dust particles, the role in the atmosphere. With this we have completed the topic of atmosphere. Now let's see what is biosphere. Biosphere is that part of sphere, that part of earth which comprises of all the three layers, all the three spheres, that is lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. So our last topic, that is biosphere, one of the four spheres, includes all the three spheres that we have already studied, that is lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. Now biosphere is the important sphere of our earth. Why it is important? Because due to the existence of biosphere only, the living being, the human being or the living creatures are possible on this earth. There is no other planet on the solar system in which biosphere is there. Earth is the only planet in which there is biosphere. Now what is biosphere? What it comprises of? See, biosphere comprises of the land on which the human beings live, the vegetation grows. Then it comprises of water, which we need, the basic primary need for living, and it also comprises of atmosphere. So a combination of three things, that is lithosphere, land, atmosphere, air and hydrosphere, water, is known as biosphere. On biosphere there lives vegetation, means vegetation grows in biosphere. Then there are animals, there are insects, and the main thing, human beings lives on biosphere. Food, the main component for sustaining the life. Food is grown only in biosphere. Then we cannot live without vegetation. Yes, of course, we cannot live without vegetation and animals also, because we get milk, the main source of food, from animals, and that animals lives in biosphere. There are two parts of biosphere, that is the non-living part and the living part. Now let's see what are the living part and what are the non-living part. The lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere, these three spheres are considered as the non-living part, and plants, animals, microorganisms and all the living world, these things are considered as the living part of the biosphere. Living part means which live, which breathe and which sustain life, that are the living part of biosphere, and non-living part is the components of lithosphere, hydrosphere, that is water, and atmosphere, that is air. Now talking about the human actions and the relation between biosphere. See, human actions nowadays, the technology, the human beings, their greed, their want have affected the biosphere a very lot, and the imbalance between all the four spheres is a great loss to the human world. How these spheres are now imbalanced? First, in the ancient time, all these spheres were balanced accordingly and the human world was very happy. But today the human interference in the nature have imbalanced these four systems, especially the biosphere. For example, there are numerous smokes and the wastage are coming out from the industries. The smokes coming out from the industries pollute the atmosphere, and the wastage that is thrown directly from the industries and factories in the water pollute the water bodies. So in this way, air is also polluted, water is also polluted. Then the excessive greed of human beings for mining a lot, digging and mining the minerals from the earth's crust, and digging of tube wells for water. For these two purposes, the lithosphere is being disturbed. Then if we talk about the pollution in air, burning of crackers, then the coming out of various smokes. For example, the smoke that is coming out from our vehicles, that gives out a lot of carbon monoxide, and due to carbon monoxide, the intensity of oxygen reduces in the atmosphere, and thus the imbalance is created. Then sometimes floods occur due to the disturbance of oceans. Then rivers, excessive rainfall is there in some areas, and in some areas there is no rainfall for many years. There is drought like condition, and these all factors affects the disturbance, affects the biosphere, and one day it will come that our world will be destroyed if if the man interference in the running or in the smooth running of our nature. So this was all about spheres. We learnt about four spheres, that is atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere and biosphere. We saw how these four spheres are related. We also learnt about the interference of man in the biosphere, and if this will be continued in future years, the condition of the world will be very drastically bad. And one more thing, due to the increase of heat and increase of temperature, the ice caps in the polar regions are continuously melting, and due to the melting of the glaciers and the ice caps in the Antarctica region, the oceans are getting bigger and bigger. The water in the oceans is increasing, and due to that the tsunami conditions can be there on the earth. The next thing, that is of the smoke. The harmful gases coming from the vehicles, coming from the compressors of the ACs, and due to that the atmospheric temperature increases. Due to the increase in the temperature and the harmful gases, our ozone layer is getting depleted. There are holes becoming in the ozone layer which is in the atmosphere, and due to that holes, direct rays, the ultraviolet rays coming from the sun are directly coming on the earth, and the temperatures in summer at some places are rising or moving up to more than 50 degree in summers, and winter temperatures are moving below 0 degrees in some areas. Some areas there is lots of rain in rainy season and some areas there is no rain in rainy season. So all these conditions should be controlled, and it can be controlled only by us, that is by man, the human beings. With this I end my session, but it's time for your homework. So start writing the questions. You have to find out the answer from your textbook. I am giving the question from the textbook itself. So find out from your textbook the answers. Question 1. Define atmosphere. Number 2. What is the distance of atmosphere from the Earth's surface? Number 3. What is atmosphere composed of? Number 4. Which elements are found in atmosphere? Next, what are the percentage of gases found in atmosphere? Next, name the gas which is in very small proportion in the air. Next, what is the main feature of the ozone gas? Next, which two gases keeps the living creatures alive? Next, what is the most important component in the atmosphere? Next, define condensation. Next, define moisture. The next one, name the various forms of moisture in atmosphere. Next, what helps the spreading of sun rays on our earth? The question is, what helps the sun rays, the spreading of sun rays on our earth? Next question, what is biosphere? Next, what does biosphere includes? Next question, name the two parts of biosphere. Next question, what is the living part of biosphere? Next question, name some of the non-living parts of biosphere. Yes students, that was all for today's homework. With this we have completed chapter 2 of your subject SS, what is around us. Please note down all the questions, find out the answers from your textbook, click the photo and post in your WhatsApp group. Now we will meet in the next session starting with chapter 3 of your textbook. Till then, take care, thank you and bye bye.